Hi James, it's Robin. I have your designs open with your warm analogous and looks like your cool analogous. And actually, this might be your warm to cool. Now that I think about it, because this is kind of well, this color pink is kind of a funny color. Sometimes you could say that it's a warm, but actually, since even though it's pink, it has so much white in it. Sometimes it could actually be a cool color, but obviously it's not an analogous color because it's the main parent color here is like a pinkish purple, and that's not analogous to this color. But not to get too complicated, but there are actually kind of cools that are on the warmer side and warms that are on the cooler side, and that would be an example. But anyway, we're not going to get too picky about that. But just so you know. So anyway, so it's always interesting to see what happens when all you do is change a palette of a design, as we saw, how different it can be even just to change the value. So the design is starting to come along. I like that you have a background and then you also have a foreground. You're actually even playing somewhat with a foreground, middle ground, background, which is good, and that's really what you want to think about when you're composing something and you want to show depth. The foreground is what's coming, kind of first toward the viewer. The middle ground is what's kind of in the mid area of the picture plane, and then the background could be this color that's kind of goes back more into a void. However, since you have this as kind of such a saturated color, it's not quite, kind of going toward the back. You know how warm colors come forward, cool colors go back. But this could be a design that you could have a little bit more depth. Kind of thinking about that if this color was a little bit less saturated. But it's still, it's still, I like that you're thinking about that foreground, middle ground, background. Now this one I would say is probably a little harder to see. So when you're doing designs, you always want to be kind of cognizant of contrast. And here, this would be an example of a design that's almost disappearing, and it would be, you'd want to bump up some of the saturation should you use a palette like this. So in order to get more contrast so the viewer can see actually what's happening with the design. But you did some nice work, and kind of keep playing with the design principles of diminishing shape, things getting larger, thinking about the design aspects in addition. Now that you're kind of getting some color principles in play, now you want to start to think about design and composition. Okay, but you're doing some nice work here, James. Thanks.